Um, don't be thinking with your dick.
Bottom line.
It's pretty cut and dry, but a lot of times we as guys really, sometimes we don't think with our big brain.
Well, when it comes to the love thing, that's also something that can be like one of those too much of a good thing kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? When if you're, for example, people put on like that love weight when they're in a relationship for a long period of time. You know what I'm saying? No shade, but it's like when you're comfortable, your habits and your discipline changes up a little
time.
bit.
You're not always gonna love somebody.
Right.
You're not always gonna feel that, lust and attraction, that animalistic, rip your clothes off type feeling all the time. It's not supposed to be there.
Right.
If it was, we wouldn't get shit done. We wouldn't have any of the technology that we have. We would be talking to you on YouTube or on the internet. There'd be no phones. Nothing would get done. There'd be a lot of fucking people, but nothing would get done.
All making them
it's like so exactly. So having that be said, with it being temporary feelings, just like you said, nothing should come before your purpose. Absolutely nothing. Not lust, not love. Nothing should be above that purpose level.
Right.
Welcome to the Warrior's Way Home podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Warrior's Way Home podcast. I'm your host, Edmund. My brother Travis here.
What's up?
And we are here to try to put the fight back into men and introduce the warrior mindset back into manhood in the modern day.
Absolutely. Welcome, guys. Glad to have you guys back. We're doing it again. Back on. Getting it going. Today, I think we're going over the Dokkodo for this episode, right?
Yes. So we're about halfway through the Dokkodo now. So we're moving on to principles 10 through 12. If you haven't had a chance to check out our series so far, just head back onto the YouTube page. We also leave some kind of individual snippets for each of these 21 principles throughout our social media. So follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all those good places.
Any place where podcasts are found, Amazon,
Spotify,
Apple, all of those will have these episodes as well, including the Dokkodo episodes.
Absolutely. So jumping right in for principle 10. Do not let yourself be guided by the feelings of lust and love. So this one it reminded me of like our stoicism conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago. So by basically not thinking with your dick, giving yourself a chance to have reason as some of the ways that you're navigating these situations instead of just going off of emotion. We said that emotion can be something that kind of impedes you on your journey, because if you're like having split-second reactions to things, you're not actually responding to them properly. You're not assessing the situation. You're not going in internally and saying, how does this really affect me? Is this going to be something that veers me off course, or something that is actually going to help me in my growth as far as confronting that conflict? So what did you think about this 10th principle, not letting yourself be guided by feelings of lust?
Oh man, don't let yourself be guided by feelings of lust and love. Don't be thinking with your dick.
Bottom line.
It's pretty cut and dry, but a lot of times we as guys really, sometimes we don't think with our big brain. At least not first. A lot of times we can tend to be, we've all experienced it, been guided by our more base instincts. Sometimes we don't make the best decisions when we're thinking that way. So having those moments where, and it's one of those things that it very rarely works out in our favor when we do that.
All right.
At a certain point in history, it guided us well to procreate, reproduce, and we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that base instinct. It's like none of us would be.
Right.
But when we're trying to better our lives and better ourselves as men, we've got to do better than just letting ourselves go by and get led by our lust and so-called love. It's like, we really got, because we don't make great decisions. We can be distracted by it. It's a huge distraction for a lot of guys.
Right.
Chasing women, pornography is a huge one. That's, not to get too personal, but for me, it's been an issue. It's been an issue in the past where it's been a distraction. Digging into the porn. You're not chasing the women as much. There's been times, not gonna lie, there's been times, but it can definitely distract you from your purpose, your goals, and what's actually important and what's supposed to be driving in your life. It shouldn't be number one.
Right.
It definitely should be nowhere in the top 5. Should chase and tail
Mm-hmm.
be in your list? It's like if that's top 5 in your list, then you probably need to reassess your life and what you're doing.
And I think that's good, but it's like for the most part, you might be talking to people who are in like the prime of their life. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all they know is that feeling, that adrenaline, that emotion of like
there are guys in their 40s still caught up in it.
Yeah.
And I've had conversations with dudes in their 40s and 30s and 50s. You know, I worked as a bouncer at nightclubs, and there's always an old dude in the club still chasing women. And I'm like, dude, you're in your late 40s, 50s. Haven't you had enough?
Right.
It's just like, you know, and they might be a little bit well off, dressed nice and things like that, but not all of them.
Right.
And it's like, don't you have other things that you should be achieving at 50?
Yeah.
You know, than in here chasing young tail? It's like, come on, man.
But also dressed that way.
Yeah.
It's kind of a facade. You know what I'm saying? You go to the club to put on anyway.
Exactly.
So it's like even if you really get it like that, you still got to go to the bar to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like you just can't pick them up anywhere. But I mean,
they're not chasing you.
Right.
That's the other thing. It's like you still got to chase them.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like, then have you really hit your pinnacle?
Right.
If you still got to chase people, if you still got to chase women.
Exactly. But there's another.
So that's more the lust thing.
Yeah. You know? Well, true. When it comes to the love thing, that's also something that can be like one of those too much of a good thing kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? If you're, perfect example, people put on like that love weight when they're in a relationship for a long period of time. You know what I'm saying? No shade, but it's like when you're comfortable, your habits and your discipline changes up a little bit. You might be going out to eat more. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to impress each other or impress her or whatever.
Late nights on the couch.
You know what I'm saying? Cuddling up, Netflix
ice cream,
and chill.
drinking.
You know what I'm saying?
Way more alcohol.
All the stuff that is typically like we said before, get partying or whatever. But it's in the name of love, right? But when it gets you off that discipline too much is when it becomes like too much of a good thing. And and your partner has to know that about you as well. If they see that you're trying to be very disciplined about something, then they should let you have that's your time to like work on your stuff or work on your craft or your goals and things like that. So and that requires you taking time away from them, and that it's a bit selfish. But you need to be selfish with your goals. You need to be selfish with whatever that you're trying to do to achieve your purpose. You know what I'm saying? Nothing should be above your purpose.
Absolutely. And to dig into that, you know, that kind of gets into my second point I had about it was, you know, lust and love, and this is my opinion, you know, some people might not agree with this, they're feelings. And feelings are temporary. You're not always gonna feel that lust for some. Especially if you've been this way for a while, you're not gonna always feel that all the time. You're not always gonna love somebody. You're not always gonna feel that, lust and attraction, that animalistic, rip your clothes off type feeling all the time. It's not supposed to be there. If it was, we wouldn't get shit done. We wouldn't have any of the technology that we have. We would be talking to you on YouTube or on the internet. There'd be no phones. Nothing would get done. There'd be a lot of fucking people, but nothing would get done.
All making them
it's like so exactly. So having that be said, with it being temporary feelings, just like you said, nothing should come before your purpose. Absolutely nothing. Not lust, not love. Nothing should be above that purpose, level. So it's like if you find yourself even in love, to where you're, not taking, you're showing up late to meetings, you're not doing the stuff you need to do, you're not going out and, achieving more. If you're in the same place at the beginning of the year that you were at the end of the year and you're in love, you might need to really look at what you're doing, because you're making some priority choices here that might not lead you to where you actually want to go.
Absolutely. So any other points about that? We move on to number 11.
Nah, man, I think it's pretty simple. Don't be listening to your dick too much. Think your big head, not always a little head. And remember, lust and love are a temporary feeling. Always put your purpose
and they're
first.
Different. That's important as well. They're different.
This is true. We do make now. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about, because we as guys make that mistake. Women make that mistake too, but I think we can a lot of times mistake lust for love. Is like, just because you been with somebody for a while and everything seems good, the sex is great, you get along, does not mean you love this person. And doesn't even mean you're supposed to be with them long term. That's the other piece of it. Is that, like you said, some of these things are temporary, and when we make certain decisions based off of not this.
Mhm.
You know, I think the point I had on it was, is this person adding to my life? Are they a benefit to my life,
Right.
or are they taking away? Because if I'm with you and I'm supposed to spend all my time with you, when I don't, you complain about it. When I'm working and I'm grinding, even though I tell you I need to do certain things with my job, my business, exercising, if you're always complaining about that and you're always trying to suck my energy away
Mhm.
from that, you're not a benefit to my life.
Or trying to maybe join in on those things to show that they have either an appreciation
Yeah.
or an interest in
And
what you like.
yeah, and that's fine. You know, as like, if you're, and that's adding to it, because you're adding to my experience in
Mhm.
that thing. You know, if I'm, I work out all the time at 6 a.m. and you want to go to the gym, we don't even necessarily need to work out together. We can do other things, but you're trying to add to my experience, trying to add to my life. That's great. You know, if you're like, hey, you find out if guys like a certain protein shake or a certain whatever, and she goes and gets you that,
Right.
she's adding to your life. She's
Right.
she's an addition to it.
Right.
But if it's always a takeaway, there's always a time suck, a time drain, especially time.
Mhm.
I think there was a guy, Coach Adams. He's like in the manosphere space. He talks
Mhm.
about your meat: money, energy, attention, and time.
It would be neat.
I know it would be right.
Money,
So
energy,
so
attention,
money,
and time.
attention, money.
That is such
energy,
a
attention,
dude
and
thing
time.
to do.
It is
Sorry,
right, but it's so true. But it fits so well. So if this love and lust is taking away from those areas, if you're always broke,
Mhm.
your money hasn't improved in any kind of way. You know, you're drained energy wise. You know, because you spent so much time with her last night on Sunday night
Right.
that you were fucking up at work on Monday.
Right.
You know, showing up late to meetings, doing different things like that, and you're not achieving what you need to. Your attention is always on that. Always got to be texting back in the middle of the day. I've seen guys that got texted women 50 times a day. It's like, you're at work, bro. It's like you have no reason to be doing that. And then the time thing is like, all of your extra time goes towards that. Never. All of your extra time should not be spent with anybody.
Mhm.
You should, if you're not reading, improving yourself, doing hobbies that improve you as a person, you have no reason to be in a relationship with somebody else. And that's just where I am with things. So.
For sure.
Mhm.
So moving on is number 11. In all things, have no preferences. So one of the notes that I had written down for this was embracing equanimity and inner peace. So basically, the concept of non-attachment and how it can lead to a more balanced and serene mindset. When we have very set, like, particular preferences about things, when that gets disturbed, it can throw us out of balance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So there was a time where, let's say I was just coming from the gym, I was super tired. I come home, it's like maybe the afternoon, and I expect to be like maybe peace and quiet or nobody there or just super chill. I prefer to come home to a quiet house. You know what I'm saying? I come in and then there's like people that were there or on their way that weren't expected. And then that
Okay.
throws off your cool down process, let's say, from
Gotcha.
your wind down time.
Mhm.
And then they're there for a little bit longer than what you would like. And it's like, all right, when am I going to get my me time after already expending so much energy
Mhm.
throughout the day?
Mhm.
Or, just having a certain kind of organization style.
Yeah.
If somebody who doesn't know comes in and they're messing with your stuff and they're just like they're appreciating it, but they're not like being malicious with moving things, but
Yeah.
you have a particular system, right? That is something that ends up, being
you're good.
something that takes people kind of off of their square. But it's because they have too much attachment to their process. If you know exactly how it's set up, you can fix it. And
Yeah.
hopefully it's not something that can't be, undone.
Yeah.
But just as those kind of examples, you have to be flexible in your day-to-day movement. You can have a set schedule, but just understand that there are going to be times where something goes wrong or something that happens that's unplanned.
Oh, yeah.
Your plans should include contingencies for what if this doesn't go right. So I used to be pissed off when I would do like a workout routine.
Yeah.
Or I would have like, I'm hitting this body part this day, I'm hitting this body part this day. And I have a set thing for the week. And then Wednesday comes around and I can't do back. And I'm upset.
You get in the
because
gym.
I'm not even.
Like, you're on my machine.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't get your whole. Now you feel out of whack because you got to play catch up or something. You should.
Or you
make
got to
room.
completely make changes because you can't use the thing that you wanted to use. It's like nobody ever uses the sled ever in the gym until the day I want to use it.
Exactly. Like, you got 30 minutes to get your whole workout done, and you got you're 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
Like, so, but it's that flexibility of the mind so that you don't get so worked out when things don't go your way. You are still in control as long as you're in control.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so funny you mentioned that because I put like the same thing. It's like flexible, being flexible to change.
Yeah.
Just put out my cool down process when I get home is like walking on rose petals, and somebody it's like, "Hello, my king, my liege," and you handing me a goblet of
Right.
my favorite. No, I'm joking. Totally joking.
A chalice, if you will.
There you go.
Right.
Where's my chalice?
Where's my pimp cup?
Where is my? That's my wind down. It's my dream wind down process. We'll see if that ever happens.
Right.
But no, being flexible, is super key because you never know, what's going to be able to what's going to come at you.
Mhm.
And if the people who are the least flexible, you can adapt. And that's the other piece. We have to be adaptable
Mhm.
as men. It's like, yes, we want things a certain way and everything like that. But if something being out of place, like if you go in the garage and somebody moved a tool
Mhm.
and it's not where it should be, instead it's like usually have it on this side of the counter and you find it on this kind of side of the counter, and you completely have a meltdown, you probably need to seek some kind of psychiatric help.
Yeah.
Because that's going beyond that, set patterns.
Mhm.
That's getting into a bit of the psychosis type deal, but anyway. But yeah, it's like, so we want to we want to be able to set patterns for ourselves, goals and different things like that for us to achieve. But if that doesn't happen the exact way you need it to, we should be able to adapt.
Mhm.
If you go to the gym and you had a set workout, you wanted to work on these machines, and you get there and somebody's on the bench press and that's your first exercise, that shouldn't be like, well, fuck it, and you just leave the gym.
Right.
No, adapt. Figure out what you need to do. Okay, so you can't do bench press, so why don't you go do push-ups?
Mhm.
As like, why don't you, you still got to warm up. You haven't even gone to the locker room yet. You just happen to see that guy on the bench as you're walking to the locker
Right.
room. Go to the locker room.
He looks comfortable. I might take it in a minute.
Come back out. See if he's still on, and be like, hey, bro. It's like, hey, how many more sets you got? Oh, you got 2. Cool. I'm gonna be over here warming up. Just let me know when you're done. Boom. Be able to adapt
Mhm.
to your situations and the things that you find yourself in. And so you have to be able to do that as a man, because things aren't always going to go your way. If you're driving down the road, let's say with your family in the back,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you catch a flat tire and you're in the middle of like Kansas somewhere, it's like, yeah, that's going to throw your plans off. You have
Right.
to be able to adapt to that. You can't just sit there on the side of the road and just pout.
Right.
We as men don't really have that option a lot of times to just sit and just be the victims. It's promoted now more, but I think we have to be adaptable and be willing to be flexible and be able to change
Mhm.
with the circumstance that we find ourselves, no matter what that is like being able to adapt and then get yourself back on course.
Mhm.
It's like, once you adapt, yeah, that's fine. I figured that out. I got that resolved, and now I'm back onto my path, back onto what I originally did. It threw me off yesterday, but it's not going to throw me off today. I'm right back on course the next day, just like nothing happened the day before.
Right. Absolutely. One of the other things that you're gonna get with flexibility is you get freedom. There is, if you can have all the plans that you want set out, but as long as you are adaptable to whatever happens within those plans that wasn't according to whatever you had going on, there's still a level of freedom to it, because it's like, all right, well, this is what I wanted to do. I couldn't do it right now. Doesn't mean I can't do it at all. If no isn't always no. Sometimes it's just not right now, type of thing. So you just get more prepared for the next opportunity that you get to go forward, but you still have the freedom to move forward in a positive way.
Or it may happen faster than you thought it would.
Yeah,
if you had a plan that was like 2 years out,
Mhm.
and the opportunity comes next week,
Right.
it's like, are you prepared to take advantage of that opportunity?
Right.
Or you just gonna be like, I wasn't ready for it because this is supposed to be 2 years out. And you
Right.
back off and you let that opportunity go.
Mhm.
There's a phrase that they say is, we all love surprises, but the ones we don't want we call problems.
Right. Right. But I think even when something happens, like, let's take it on a good note. Things happen for you faster than what you wanted.
Yeah.
You were already moving in the mindset of, this is what I'm going to get. So it gets to you faster. You shouldn't freak out. If anything, you should be more excited. But also, there is some pressure that comes with getting what you want. Sometimes it's bad to get what you want. Kind of like outright.
So you gotta be careful what you ask for.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you want $1 million, but you have no plan in place as far as like what you're actually going to do with that money. You just get excited and you start spending money that you spend it faster than you can get it. You know what I'm saying? So by putting yourself in position to have the safeguards for also what you do get what you want and the things that you don't get, By not having a preference, you're prepared for everything. So you get the best of every experience of, okay, I was broke, now I got some money, but now the money's coming in faster than I thought. Okay, but I got things that are set aside for that. I can got bills that need to be paid. I got a bank account I need to fill. There's baby shoes I need to get. Whatever that it is, you now have a plan for it because you, and that's getting. I guess it is kind of getting somewhat further down than what people might be ready for. But be ready to be ready is a major part of just not having a preference.
I think is if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of basically boils down to what we're both talking about is having an adaptable mind.
Right.
Is that, having a mind, that's able to change, that's, flexible in the way we think and we're able to move.
Mm-hmm.
I think in having that, you will have a lot easier time when stuff happens and comes to you, whether it be, something you want or something you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
You have a much easier time dealing with those things.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
The last one that we have here, principle 12, is be indifferent to where you live. So this one was easy, but it was also hard because then I realized that I was uncomfortable when I was living in Ohio. I mean, I was very comfortable with I had control over my environment, but I wanted more. So when I came out to Colorado, I wasn't really caring too much where I landed. I just knew it had to be somewhere where I could get access to like all the main stuff that you need, food, shelter and all that stuff.
Right.
The highway if I needed gas, all that kind of stuff. But when I landed, I realized that where we first lived was okay, but then I wanted more. We moved to another spot. And then it's all right, this was cool, but now I need more space and I'm tired of being on the first floor. So I want to go here.
Okay.
And then you get into what you think is the perfect space and there's always something wrong with it. When you're in a space long enough, you'll find something wrong with it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But also it's not just living situations, it's also like getting out of your comfort zone in general.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? You can go camping and not have the best time, but you get to wake up among the forest and mountains and all that type of stuff. And camping can be hard, but it's the fact that you went out there and did something that's different. And now you have that as a reference point to when you do get back to a place that is comfortable. Like, oh, my bed is bad. I used to not want my bed. Now my bed is better because I got used to sleeping without a bed. You know what I'm saying? I might be rambling, but it's just
no, I get what you're saying.
But it's getting used to being in any type of situation, being comfortable there.
For sure. Ultimately. For sure. And to jump on the comfortable situation is that I took it in a way of people will stay in situations and around people that no longer serve them for far too long. People get you don't just have to get comfortable with like, a comfortable bed and a nice place and, your girl by your side and, where it's real cushy and warm and, you don't want to leave that situation. You can also get comfortable in chaos.
Yeah.
You can get comfortable, being around people who are, slanging and you're trying to go to college and, but these are your boys, you grew up together. And even though they're not going in the same direction you're going, you're so comfortable. You've been around them so long and they know you so well that you can get so comfortable being around them that you can find yourself in a situation that you should have never have been in the first place.
Right.
And just being around certain situations, certain people can get so comfortable in that chaos because they say, the devil is better than the one you don't. People can get so afraid in stepping away from those things because they don't know.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think scares them, people the most is the things that we don't know scare us.
Right.
The things that we know don't really scare us. We might not like them, but they don't really scare us. People stay in the hood because they know the hood. It's like they might not like being in the hood.
Right.
Hearing drive-bys, people they know dying, overdosing drugs, all these different things like that. But if you've been in there long enough, you know it.
Right.
Every Wednesday at 6:00, Pookie the crackhead is going to run across the street and jump up into that tree.
Right.
You know this. It's like because you've been around long enough to the point where when it doesn't happen, you're like, "What the hell is Pookie?"
Right.
It's
like chaos.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a great situation.
It's
not a great situation, but you can get so complacent
in
that and so comfortable in it that you don't move. And when a lot of times when those opportunities to get to the last one come up, that when those opportunities do come for you to make that move, you can get so comfortable and so locked into a situation that you don't make a move that would be better for you, because you got so comfortable where you are in the situation. Where even if it's something that you would prefer not to be, people can get locked in such a mindset that they just stay in that situation. In relationships too, your relationships that you knew you should have left a long time ago. I've been in those, and it's like I look back and like, why would you stay in that? It's like because I knew what I was dealing with in that situation.
I had a homeboy that I think it was like somewhere around our last year of high school. His mom lived in like North Carolina, and she gave him a like, come on out, like you can stay with me. You know, he was basically given a job at that point, and he was only there for like 3 months. He was only there for the summer. He came home, and he came home to what he had known, and it was more of a like, I miss my boys kind of thing and all that, and like it was, things were different, you know what I'm saying, when he left. Not necessarily worse, but it wasn't better either. You know what I'm saying? So, and he came home, he was like disappointed, and you could kind of tell in his interactions for like the first month or so. He was like, I didn't. This is the difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was just bored. You can be, even when you're changing lanes, if you get bored with the new circumstances because things aren't happening fast enough, or you're not getting the experience that you thought you was going to get, that can be a hindrance and a reason why people go back too, because you're too comfortable and you're not knowing what's in the future, but you're not even like willing to go out and check it out. It's just like, I'm here now. Why aren't the streets paved with gold? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I'll just go back over here because I know what's up.
Or it's so new and uncomfortable that you're like, well, it's so new, it's so uncomfortable, so foreign to you that you go running back to the thing you knew. That's why people end up with their exes, different things like that, because it's like, it's like, I'm out here and meeting these different types of people. It's like, but I at least know her and how she acts and how she's. I know her crazy.
Right.
It's like, but going out and finding new crazy, can I deal with the new crazy? I know her crazy. Let me just deal with her crazy.
Right.
It's like, but that's how you end up in, the boys in the hood situation. It's like situations that you probably really should have not been a part of in the first place, and get you certain type of results.
With these 3 principles, let's give them like an action plan.
Definitely. We're about that action.
If not one, which one do you see as something being the most important to address now? Whether it be indifferent to where you live. I know a lot of people just graduated, or going into like their first year of college or first year of high school, whatever the situation may be. If you're moving out of state or whatnot, or like embracing, having no preferences at all, or just not succumbing to lust and love. Like, which is most important to somebody looking into this now?
Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna break this. I will break it up into two different categories.
Okay.
For the younger guys, do not give in to lust and love. I think that'll set you back way more than anything else. As a young dude, dudes fresh out of high school, fresh into college, that 18 to 20s type deal is like, even up to 30s, is, I would say, don't give in to lust and love. Would be a number one. Is that, because that's how you end up with baby mamas who you absolutely hate, despise, but you're stuck with them for the rest of your life. End up in situations that can just really cause you harm. Mess around with the wrong girl, and that can get you dead.
Yeah.
All because you weren't thinking with your big head.
Right.
Mess with somebody you shouldn't have been messing with. I think that can do way, way more harm than any other ones at that age. For the older guys, once you kind of establish yourself, maybe you're into your career and different things like that, I would say not to get comfortable. I'm not saying don't be comfortable at all. I'm not saying go sleep on be sleeping in the dirt on a rock. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is don't be so committed to what you have that you're not willing to change. If another opportunity comes, if something better comes along, another opportunity that will propel you forward in your life or get you closer towards your goal and your purpose, be willing to make that change, to separate yourself from maybe the people or the even the state or country that you're in, and make that change to move forward to your goal and your purpose. It's like, don't be so stuck in what you already know that you're willing to give up something that you want.
Right. Okay. For mine, I would say, for my first one, it would be, in all things have no preference. one, by having a mindset of no detachment, it gives you a level of freedom. It gives you the opportunity to respond to things more than react to them.
Yeah.
And the reason why I would say that so much, because I feel like I say that a lot, is like, don't be reactionary, just be responsive.
Mm-hmm.
By responding, it's like, again, it's literally enacting that freedom to, you're trying to like hurt my feelings, or you're trying to piss me off, or you're trying to like get in my head to do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna let you. That alone pisses the other person off more, and then they start to call you like, a coward or whatever that is. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but you don't know what I'm capable of. You don't know you don't know what I've been through. So for me to sit here and even play this game with you is beneath me.
Yeah.
Which means you are beneath me. Which means I'm just gonna go ahead and go, because
Mm-hmm.
like you don't even deserve the time of day. That's gonna piss somebody off more than you actually engaging with them and like trying to have that argument and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they have to take that back with them, and it's like, he didn't even have the what was that, like the Boondocks? It's like that moment where it's like, I don't want to say the whole thing, but it's like it's that moment where it's just like
the Negroid moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
But it's like it's the perfect time to throw your life away. Like, no, I'm good. You get to walk away feeling tough, and I get to go have a nice day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna take that to the wrong person, and then they're gonna give you what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have to be you, unless you get pushed to that point. But yeah, for having no preference, man, just invest in nice things, but don't let it overtake you.
That's what I was gonna ask. What's the tangible with that? What's that like the execution look like on that?
Be aware that you are worthy, and it's your right to have nice things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get too attached to them and start letting those things define you, then you have a problem. Then you're back to being mostly ego. You know what I'm saying? So the tangible part is you have the right to go and get those things. Just don't be attached to them.
Makes sense. And I would say, thinking about it with the lust and love thing, I would say take 2 minutes and play the scenario out, think 2 steps ahead. It's like move forward. It's like before you give in to that lust and that love thing, whatever you're about to do. Most of the time, it's the lust thing. Mm-hmm. It's like whether you should get with that chick, take her home that night, deal with this woman who has a reputation or whatever it may be in that situation. Even ask somebody to marry you. Put a baby in somebody. We shoot no clubs, guys. Wear your hats. Take 2 minutes and play this forward. It's like, how is this going to end? Now, how is this going to, not as how is this going to be? Mm-hmm. Now, how is this going to feel? How is this going to end?
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, if I deal with her and she ends up pregnant, am I going to be cool with that? Right. Is she hot? Will she be a good mother?
Right.
Why would I lay with some woman? And I can say this now as an older dude and have made some interesting mistakes. I'll put it that way. I wouldn't even call them mistakes. I've made some interesting choices. Okay,
bad investments.
I've crapped out a few times. I've crapped out a few times. But having said that, if I really thought ahead, like far forward, like could I even see building something with this woman? And I do that now. It's like I see a woman across, and maybe she has a reputation, or I hear about her or something like that, or I don't know her at all. I just watch how she moves. It's like, is that somebody I could see even building something with, even short term, even on a short term basis? Let alone, would this woman be a good mother? Would she be a good wife? Would she support me in the things I need to do? And don't get me wrong, it's hard to do that in that moment. It is very, very hard to do that in certain situations, and we all know that. You get put in certain situations where all the blood leaves your head. And it's hard to make those decisions now. But if you just take 2 minutes and just try and think just a little bit ahead, even if it's like a year from now, will I regret this? Just ask yourself that question. A year from now, will I regret making the decision I'm about to make right now? And go from there. That would be my tangible for the guys.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Well, where can the people find us?
All social media. We're here with the video podcast on the YouTube. We are also on pretty much all the platforms for the podcast, like we said earlier, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, a few more coming here, but pretty much any place you can find podcasts, you can find us. And also our social media will be listed in the description of whether you're on the podcast or you're on YouTube. It'll be listed in the description. So our Facebook, our Instagram, and our TikTok.
Okay.
So check us out there, and definitely like, follow, and subscribe, because we will be coming out with a lot more great information. So you don't want to be missing that. So hit that bell so it actually notifies you when we get on here and we put down these videos and drop these gems.
Absolutely. So guys, again, we're just trying to put the fight back into manhood, and it's better to be a warrior in the garden
Than the gardener and the warrior.
See you guys next time.
Take it easy.
Peace.